boys, back on the Ranger today. Here's the stock steering box. Gave her a little bit more extra clearance right there. Yeah, you know, it's still good. It'll still hold. It's only a manual steering box. So with the new manifolds, the steering shaft wouldn't clear. So the shaft coming out of the box, the input shaft, was roughly out to about right here. So I cut that off as short as I could. Got a piece of universal 3/4 double DN steering shaft and a 3/4 U-joint, nothing crazy. Spline drive. At first I bought a smooth bore round one, but it was too big to fit on. So I went with the spline one and had the spline one machined a couple thousand smaller. And I had the steering shaft, the input shaft, drilled, because this has a keyway right there. So this can be tapped on. Might need to use some heat, but we'll tap this on. And I'll get this on as close as I can. And then when that's on there, I'm going to weld the inside here. I'm going to TIG weld the inside and then put the keyway right in that hole to lock that, and I'll Loctite that. That way that's nice and solid. Then the U-joint to the 3/4 double DN to this end. This is the factory lower part of the steering shaft that went onto the box, and it's machined for that. So it takes this sleeve for the slip joint, takes the sleeve with one of these springs, and the spring was broke, so I bought some spring steel, because that's pretty much what they're made out of, and fabricated a little, pretty much same one. It's good enough. I made 2 of them. This one didn't come out so good, but this one's pretty good. It's got a little slot, but it just needs to hold pressure, hold some spring pressure. And then that used to slide in here, and then the sleeve holds the spring. So I had this universal one machined also, identical, so I can put the sleeve over that with the spring, and then cut this to the exact size and length, or whatever you want to call it, that I need, and then it will slide over to this, the upper part, and this part will connect to the steering column. So as long as this part, which I wanted to keep it whole like this, but if I wanted to keep it like completely 3/4 double D shaft, I'd have to run it up to here and see if I can get a U-joint, which this is a 1-inch. Inside here, if I can get a 1-inch double DN U-joint to the steering column, and then I could do the 1-inch to the 3/4 double D and run this all the way down if I wanted to. I don't know if I need that extra clearance instead of having this, because the lower half from like here to here is where it hit the new manifold. So I'm going to TIG weld this, take that to work, see what my clearance is looking like, and then once I get the steering box in and the steering shaft done, and then I can clearance the frame for the manifolds on the driver's side, and then I can restart the whole exhaust system all over again. So we're going to get this TIG welded up, and then carefully, without melting that seal. Not ideal situation, but for the stock steering box, I still want to run this thing. So we'll send it, see what happens. Hopefully I don't melt the seal. Probably going to put a wet rag around here and keep wetting it and just do little by little. So I'm gonna do that and then see what happens. So, all right, talk to you later. All right, boys, got it welded on. Not the best TIG welds. Burnt my hand with the TIG wire, that's cool, you know, whatever. Not the best. Had a big cup on there, pretty hard to get inside there. And the steering shaft is, you know, 3/4 inch, so it's very thick. I had to go really slow. Put a wet rag, wrap it around as tight as I could, because there's a seal right there. And then keep spraying it with water, and then taking the rag, keep wetting it with cold hose water over there. And then just go little by little. But it's definitely on there. Got the set screw cut. Got red Loctite on there. Ain't going anywhere. Gonna give her a little paint action. Don't even know what this is. Pro Essentials, rust preventative. It's black, so when in doubt, go with black. Gonna paint it, and that's it.